Matthew,
Brett.
welcome to episode 4. You were the chosen guest for this episode, and
Awesome.
Matt and I go way back, like literally. Ooh, dude, I want to say I don't even know how young. I've known you my whole life, basically,
Oh, of course.
and literally, like probably since I was 8,
No, no, no. You've known me
yep,
my whole life, bro. Because you're a
for
little older.
sure.
Yeah, you're like 2 years older than me. But
Yeah, 2 years old.
dude, I remember being young, knowing you. Like, dang, looking back on it, I was young, bro.
I know, dude. It was like so. For context for the audience, I grew up playing baseball. Matt grew up playing baseball, but I mainly played baseball with Matt's older brother David, and my older brother played baseball with his
Danny.
other older brother. But yeah, we were always interconnected, through baseball. And I remember like after games and stuff, Matt and I would just hang out with me and his family basically, or vice versa, and it was just always a good time. Just very familial relationship there. It was incredible. And then when did you end up moving from Tucson to Phoenix? When was that?
It was my sophomore year of high school in May. It was like right when quarantine started, I think. No, no, a year of quarantine is when it started.
Crazy.
And then I moved, and by the time I was out here, the mask thing wasn't that big anymore. But it was still known. Like my job, I was wearing the mask. But
Right. And I didn't see you for probably like 3 years or something great. Four, actually, probably longer. Realistically, probably 4 or 5 years
yeah,
or something ridiculous. But I moved up to Tempe, obviously, and we always talked about meeting up, and we made it happen a couple of months ago, and I think these last couple of months have been like weirdly huge in
no,
your
I know
life.
the last
And
time I saw you, bro, was in the mall with your mom.
wait, really?
Do you remember that time? Park Place. I was on it.
How?
Was I on a date? I don't know. I was with people, and
Oh yes, dude.
that was crazy.
Yeah, dude, I forgot about that. Holy shit. But like we never sat down and chopped it up
Oh no,
or anything. It was just like a quick, yeah, it was good, bro. I miss you.
yeah,
Let's get some food or something. And then we actually made it happen a couple months ago. So, I just wanted to say, dude, it's been super nice and refreshing to like, touch base and catch up with everything. But I did reference the Tucson to Phoenix move, and I know we've talked about it in the past as being like such a pivotal moment in your life. If you just want to elaborate on like what made it so pivotal and like what you learned and how did it kind of shape you?
dude. So when I first moved out here, the first thing that happened to me is I started working at Best Buy, right? And this is crazy because I met somebody who was part of an MLM. You know what
Yeah.
that is? The
Yes, dude.
multi-level
Well,
marketing.
yeah,
And
they're everywhere.
oh yeah, no, no, no. It's the biggest one actually. You know Amway?
Yes, dude,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. And
Oh, dude,
anyone on campus, like if you go to ASU at all,
is
anyone on
it?
campus, they're all like literally like
Oh,
if someone offers you a job on campus, they're
you
literally
know.
MLM. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, so I realized that like I'd say probably 2 months deep that it was all scam. Like
And that's when you were hitting me up to
that's when
join
I
you,
was hitting
bro.
you, and that's the craziest part, bro. That's the craziest part, bro. And let
I
me tell you
remember
about
that.
it. Although it was a scam, I would tell you that that was the biggest pivotal point in my life because that's what it's a scam, but they teach you mindset. Like they were
Right.
the ones that told me to buy a book that ended up turning into multiple books. And then, like, when I'm reading these books, I'm also researching the company. I was like, yo, this ain't it. Like,
Right.
but what they taught me was it. So, like, even though I hate MLMs now, but I actually think that they can change people's lives if they look at it right.
Right. It's so funny. Like if they just converted their MLM to a little sales seminar,
That's what I'm saying.
it would be fraud. It would be fraudulent, but it would make our lives like,
Dude,
you know,
that's what I'm
I guess
saying because
easier.
like that's one of the things that they do. They find people who have it in them, and then they teach them some mindset, and they at the seminars they literally talk about, yo, why would you live like this when you can live like this? And
Right.
then they just give you a bad product and just basically,
That's so
yeah, it's pretty crazy. But
yeah, dude. Because I remember I went to one of those meetings because I was interested. Some dude approached me. I think I was a freshman in college,
that's how it
and I was like,
is.
dude, right? And he was like, oh, do you do sales at all, or like do you work? I was like, I don't work at all, and I was looking for a job.
Yeah,
So I and they were asking for like a bunch of information, and I was like, I just kind of want to see the meeting before I give you anything. And thank goodness that's what I said, because dude, I walked in there and the seminar was like super enlightening. Like they touched on some really good things, like you said,
that's what.
very in touch on like mindset and you know, pursuing like a greater future, but for yourself. And I think that is so valuable. But holy shit, doing it through an MLM is not.
And let me
I would
tell
never,
you
dude.
what's so crazy about it. So my dad, I was 16 at the time when they approached me. So my dad
Yeah,
went with me to the seminar. He was like, you wanted to make sure that it was all. And my dad even told me that deep down he knew it was a scam, but he wanted me to find out on my own.
right,
And bro, I can't thank my dad enough for just letting me live my life and just learn my own lessons
right.
the way it was. But he even
I
said,
think I literally texted you too, bro.
yeah,
I think I was like, hey man, this seems a little sketch
yeah,
or
dude.
something.
Dude,
I
it
was,
was. That's funny because that was like the first seminar. I was just hyped up, bro. I was hyped up.
right,
But yeah, no, I understood it. I understood it like 2 months after. I was like, yo, I appreciate it, but this ain't for me. But
right,
yeah, but yeah, it's pretty sick.
right. So that was right when you moved from Tucson to Phoenix, like relatively,
Yeah,
like
and
that.
I actually, I mean, I do think that MLMs you can make money in them if you're like, but it requires a different type of person, bro.
Yeah,
Like
it,
because the people higher up in MLMs are making bank. It's just I don't know. Most people lose money, which is
yeah, it's not very American
yeah,
either.
yeah, dude.
but
All right, but back to the subject. So that wasn't the
you're
only thing,
perfect,
you know.
bro.
It's also people that I met, relationships that I went through. Uh, it's like everybody needs to go through some crazy event, and depending on how you deal with it, it just changes your life completely, completely. And I'd say people can use YouTube for bad things and good things, but when you're looking at the right things on YouTube and you're using them through like the tough times where you're just thinking, yo, there is some things that are wrong with me, dude, it just shapes your future 100%.
Right.
100%.
Yeah, and you and me were talking about, you know, obviously Tucson. So I don't know, Tucson growing up was like very boring, but I don't know, I was always a bigger dude. I was always outside though, and you know, I had fun with what existed, you know, and I still think Tucson's awesome. But you brought up a really good point to me about how you understand why people like fall into like that
The
shitty
partying.
Tucson habits, you know, like where you
Let
just
me
drink
tell
all the
you,
time.
it's just crazy. It's crazy because I was just in Tucson this morning actually, and I was hanging out with my friend Jaden, and we were talking because she actually went into that route with the partying and drugs and everything. But I understood when we were out there that there was literally nothing to do. And when there's nothing to do, it's pretty dangerous with who you surround yourself with because you can easily fall into that trap of partying, drugs, drinking all the time. And especially when we're young and our brains are still developing, I could that affects people throughout their life if they're doing it so
Right.
young and so consistently. But uh, my best friend Jose out there, man. I mean, I don't know if he's gonna listen to this podcast, but when I lived out there, we used to make fun of drugs. Like we used to be on that. We were like, "Yo, drugs suck." Every time we'd hang out with girls, we'd be like, "Yo, we don't even use drugs with these girls."
Right.
But
Right.
now, dude, now he's crazy partier all the time. Um, but I understand why. I mean, there was literally nothing to do.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like you said, I mean, you just got to keep yourself active. You got to find some different hobbies. Um, but like when drugs are filling that void of boredom, it's just a dangerous cycle.
Yeah, and it's super common everywhere, but I see exactly what you're saying with um I don't know, growing up I didn't think I don't know, it never even occurred to me that that was like a correlation. But it definitely is,
Dude,
without a doubt. Like, like you're totally onto something.
because if you don't find your
I
dopamine somewhere else, like in nature or something, you're gonna find it in that partying.
Right. And my camp was always like, hey, let's go, throw a football, let's go outside, let's go for a hike. I
Right.
think those things were always on the table, or we were, like doing hide and seek at the house or like whatever. Like,
Oh, of
I don't
course,
know, dude.
bro.
You're
Dude,
just
our
like
circle is weird. Our circle is crazy.
we were just being kids, dude.
Dude, we were being
Being
kids
kids.
playing Nerf battles, bro.
Literally like
Different now.
full on Nerf battles.
Like
Like
it's
full on Nerf.
completely different now because I even see it with my little brother. Oh, kids don't go out as often. They don't sleep
It's
over as
weird.
often as they
Yeah,
used
I
to.
believe in that.
It's just all over the phone or over the game. But dude, I used to have the best times of my life at your house. That was
And vice versa, dude. I don't know. There was always like those poker nights we had with your family, that stuff like that, dude. That just like I don't know. Would I have ever played poker without your guys, without your family? Like probably not, dude. Probably not until I was older. But you guys taught me, and it's just like little things like that to where I'm gonna hold on to those memories
oh yeah,
forever. It's just like imagine if I just stayed home that weekend and just like played Black Ops 2 or
that's
something.
right.
It's not nearly as like I can't recall a single night I gamed, but I can recall those nights I went over to your guys'
Yeah,
house or like the nights where you
yeah.
guys came over. And I think that is like a really good um,
You're
way of looking
right.
at it. That
Mm.
one of my friends he kind of gave me that perspective. He's like, I don't remember what I was doing like 2 years ago on the Xbox, but I remember 2 years ago, I spent a weekend camping or something. And I was
Dude,
just like,
that's how it is.
like
And
it makes great
I don't
great
understand
sense.
why people get blackout drunk, bro. Then you don't remember it. You don't
This
remember it,
this is
and
a
you
real
embarrass
thing.
yourself that night.
It's horrible, dude. And like just wanting to get to a point to where you don't remember or like you just get super fucked up to where you're just not in control. Like that does not sound appealing to me
Yeah,
and like
yeah,
whatsoever.
no. It is
And like
cool.
I do drink. Like
Yeah, yeah.
drinking. I
No,
think
it's cool to get
I'm
buzzed every once in a while, bro. Every once in a
right.
while, but like, dude, the crazy party harders every weekend, like, it's just, I,
It's
you know what, bro? I'm not even want to judge about it though. I mean, some people freaking come back and they're locked in after the partying stage. So, and then they
do you
have
know
some
who
pretty crazy
Davis?
stories.
Do you know who Davis Clark is? He's the guy on Instagram where he's like, "We're locked in today, baby. It's time to fucking crank these spreadsheets."
Oh, is he? Is he funny?
He's
Like
like,
super funny?
no, he's like really awkward, dude.
Oh,
like, yeah,
jeez.
like he ran a marathon,
Okay.
the Boston Marathon, and he like shit his pants at the end. And like and then he put the camera like between his legs. He's like, "We're
No.
locked in today. I shit myself." And you can like see the shit running down his leg. It's pretty gross, dude.
What the? Oh
But
no.
he's a beast. But he works on Wall Street and he has a little social media. But dude, he does the same thing. Like he posts a bunch of videos of him like locked in at the office, and then all of a sudden it's like a
I see
Friday
some
night at
funny
to the
videos like
club.
that. I saw this one where this dude was like, dude, I just bought this car and I asked for the highest interest possible to make sure I go out there and I work as hard as I can to pay this car off. And I was like, I'm locked in. I'm locked in. Nobody else is on
I'm
this.
like, nobody,
I was like,
I
bro.
requested to pay more, dude.
Yeah, he was
I
like,
said,
I
give me,
requested a higher interest rate. That's how locked in I am. Because I
just
know I'm
give,
going to pay it off anyways. I was like, bro.
that's so funny, dude. So, in regards to like car sales, you've been working in car sales for a while here.
Dude,
How long's it been?
I, I started in February. February. And
Okay,
yeah, it's kind of crazy. I work
damn,
in
dude.
interest rates. Dude, that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, what's the biggest like takeaway of being in car sales, dude? Like, just all right. Two-part question. Biggest takeaway on the sales end, and then biggest takeaway, like if you were to buy a car, like what do you wish, or what would you wish someone to know?
Dude, there's that's such a crazy question because car sales, I took away so much from sales, but also from life, bro. Because when you get in car sales, I was the youngest one there by far. I mean, I got in at 18, and there's people from every single age group and every single different generation, and you learn a lot. You learn a lot about life in that. I'm telling you, because you
Right.
just go around and you talk to people, and they tell you how they're feeling, and what brought them into car sales and things like that. But on the sales end, you definitely learn how to deal with people that at first, because realistically, car sales has a bad reputation. So you're kind of learning how to take this bad reputation and slowly build rapport at the same time to get this person to trust you pretty well. Um, and I'd say that that's a pretty big skill to just go
Right.
from like this view where, okay, this guy's out here to scam me, to let me just show you.
Yeah, isn't it kind of crazy that there's such a bad stigma? Like it,
Bro, I
it's kind of.
understand it. No, but I
I
understand it.
know, dude. I get it
I
too.
100%
But
understand it. And I'm glad I took that job because, bro, it just teaches you not to care at the same time what others
right.
think. You know what I'm saying? But, geez, what was the question again? We were talking about oh, the
Yeah.
biggest
Yeah.
takeaways. Okay, biggest takeaways.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like it definitely teaches you grind at the same time. It teaches you that you can't just rely on one lead source. You got to go out there. You got to put yourself out on different accesses. Um, but the second question was,
For the customer, like, what do you think? Like, my
oh,
grandma goes to buy a car, dude. Like, what's
dude.
one advice you would tell her?
Okay, so in reality, your goal is to convince them that their car is worth less than it really is. That's where the money is. Because
Right.
it's just like every other business, everybody sells and they get a profit on it. I mean, we get the cars from Toyota at a certain price, and we sell them at a certain price. Uh, and I see where everybody's coming from that, but like that's how every business runs. First, I was about
Right.
to go buy a chain at a mall, okay, and this dude was about to let me buy it for $750, and I was like, you know what? I don't want this chain actually, and I told him that, and then he told me he was like, all right, I guess I'll tell you. The next day after, it's 40% off, and he says
Yeah.
you can't price match it now, but tomorrow it's going to be 40% off. So it's like every business does it where they're marking up their products like crazy. Uh, for a customer view, you have to come in knowing what your car's worth. Uh,
Right.
you definitely have to come in knowing like how much markup they have in the car. Toyotas, they don't have much markup in them. Like I'd say there's like $2,000 between what they own it and what they got it from the factory.
Wow.
Unless you go up like a truck, you're gonna own it for about 4,000 more than what you got it from the factory, or you're gonna price it $4,000 more. But I'd also say getting pre-approved, or at least knowing the incentives on the cars that are out, because some people were getting sold cars knowing that there was an incentive on it to have that interest rate cut in half, which is
Right.
that's why I mean, like, one thing about car sales I wasn't fulfilling is the fact that you really had to do that in order to make money, and you could see like in everybody, like that's why I'm saying, where when I was asking people, how they feel about this job and everything, a lot of them are crapped out, but we call it the golden handcuffs. I'm not sure if you've ever heard that,
Never.
but it's when you're making so much money that you feel like you just can't leave
Mm.
and go make it somewhere else.
Right.
And a lot of them got trapped into that because during COVID, cars were marked up like crazy. People were making 200 grand, 250,000, and they ended up matching their bills pretty high. And now they're pretty much trapped in car sales.
Right.
But I mean, I decided to take a step away. I'm not sure if you mentioned that, but I'm taking a step away and going into a new sales industry mainly because I didn't want to get trapped in that. for sure.
Right. Yeah, it's so different from what I do just in regards to like tech sales. And I think a lot of people they kind of generalize the term sales or the occupation very heavily because my buddy, he's like, oh, imagine if we put you in car sales, you do great. Or imagine if you worked there or something. I'm just like, dude, that type of sales is so different. And like,
Yeah, I know it's different.
dude, it's like it's night and day. Like it really is. Like the going B2C, you're literally like you said, you have a bad report, you have the horrible stigma behind
Dude,
like
that's
just
what
the
it
brand,
is.
and it's just like that sales would kill me. I would not perform, I don't think, and if I did, I'd feel like shit.
That's how it
So
is, dude. That's how it is.
so I'm very grateful being in tech sales and on the tech side of a company. It's just, I don't know, it's way more my speed.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, dude. So I admire you for doing that as long as you did, and actually you performed very well.
Yeah.
Is what you're saying. Getting,
Yeah, no, no, no. It was. I mean, I had a great time. Like in terms of because it teaches you negotiation too, and negotiating like in a positive way where nobody's getting angry.
right.
Um, but yeah, it definitely is a different type of sales, and I think when I'm jumping into my new field, it's gonna be a different type of learning where I'm gonna have to do my research and like look at Patrick Bet David on that.
So, right. Did you did sales shape your politics at all?
Oh yes, of course. Sale. Let me tell you something. Sales is the backbone of capitalism.
Right.
The sales is
Without a
the
doubt.
yeah. It's a sale. It's the backbone of capitalism. Uh, it's crazy that you talk about politics because politics is huge in my friend group right now. I mean, in terms of, and you see it all around the country too. Division. It's just
Right.
it's crazy what the two party system is really starting to create. And when you're seeing it,
It
dude, it looks like we're destroying ourselves from the inside.
Yeah, it's not ideal, dude. It's not the most ideal situation at all. And I would love to. There's just so many like avenues of politics right now that are being kind of pursued that just still aren't given enough attention, like at all. And I think as
No,
we are, we have like the most access to educate ourselves on things, yet people our generation just don't. They choose not to.
of
Like
course,
they choose not to,
of
and it's
course.
like that kind of scares me. Like that whole concept scares me. Like we would rather consume brainless information than genuinely educate ourselves on what's going on in the world. And like that, if that isn't the scariest fucking concept or the
Oh, of course.
scariest thing that's going on, like I don't know what is, because it's just, I don't know, it's getting pretty bad,
Well, you
dude.
know how the new like social media, the new way they do it, where it's scrolling and
Yeah,
it's like little short clips. People don't understand how bad that is on our attention span too. Like the way we're consuming
yeah,
information is in a way where it's just in spurts, where we don't
yeah,
actually
dude.
sit down and read facts anymore.
It's horrible. And like, I don't know. I hear or I read like proper information, but you're reading social media information, and it's completely different. Or I read Fox News, you're reading CNN, and that's completely different. So it's like, what information is real?
That's right.
What information is real? It's just a constant struggle in that regard. And then you have the people who just like believe everything they read as well.
That's
I
how
feel
it
like
is.
I go in with at least an open mind of like, this is what I believe. Like I believe in this person, and I've done my research
Mhm.
on multiple
Oh, of course.
sources. This is what I gathered is like kind of true. This is
Dude, sometimes I get tricked by it. Sometimes, like, I see something on social media and I instantly go to the group chat, like, yo, you guys see that? And then everybody's like, yo, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? Like,
that's fake news.
that's...
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, damn, all right, never mind. Uh,
But what is fake news, dude? Like it's
you don't
just
even know.
flagged by these social media companies. Like that's the one. Like people were bitching and complaining about X becoming like just a place of free speech. It's like degenerate content, whatever.
Oh, yeah,
But at least you have a place where you're not being censored. People aren't
of course.
like if you post something there, it's there.
It's
Like
really
it's
there.
genuinely. Yeah,
Did you
it's
see? Did
crazy.
you see the Mark Zuckerberg on trial?
Yeah, dude, and he was like, "Yeah, we were paid, right?"
Yeah,
He
to get
admitted to,
censored or to censor out some information, which is crazy. But that brings me into it. So we're arguing, bro, and I'm telling you, like, I'm at work and I look at my phone. It's 300 messages. They're just all going back and forth. And after I got off, I'm like, "Yo!" Everybody hopped on Facetime. I'm like, "You guys do realize we can't control anything, right? The only
right, dude,
I was like, the only
right,
thing we can control is your own life, to where no matter who wins, no matter who wins, we'll still be okay.
right,
And then if you end up getting to a position where you can actually convince people, then go ahead. But
absolutely,
arguing and just trying to convince each other, like, yo, this person's bad, it's not the way. It's not the way in my eyes,
yeah,
because in reality, we're one of 333 million people, and
no, exactly,
all we can focus on is just not being so divided and just working on ourselves to the point where we have a clear mind to actually be able to make decisions like that.
yep, exactly, dude. United under God,
Yes,
and I
man.
feel like people have missed out on that latter part of that statement. It's like some people just, I don't know. I genuinely believe like when you reject faith or when you reject belief, you kind of reject community in a way.
Oh, of
And
course.
like that is just that's something I've realized like as I've, been really pursuing my faith. It's like it's just led me to way better relationships with those around me, obviously my relationship with God and my relationship with myself, dramatically. I used to be like very hard on myself, like
Oh, yeah.
probably like too much, but
Okay.
I do think there's an aspect of being hard on yourself that is like super important. Like nobody in your life is going to set boundaries for you except for
Of
you.
course.
Um,
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares,
Nobody.
and they shouldn't, because if they do, then it's like that's kind of fucking weird. Like let me figure this out. But if you say let me figure this out, you have to actually figure it out and like be like change, like find change, and
Oh,
pursue
of course.
change.
Of
And
course.
I genuinely I believe that faith has helped a lot with that in my situation. And I've had breakups, long term friendships that came to an end. I've had you know family relationships come to an end, and I think the only thing that's been consistent is that relationship with God. And it's the only thing that's going to be there like throughout everything. And obviously, I pray that my relationship with like my mom and those like closest to me are going to be consistent, because they have been as
Yeah.
well. I feel like I have to give that credit. Um, but you recently went through kind of like a hardship in that regard. Like, did
Yeah.
you want to touch on that?
Dude, of course I could touch on that. I've been through two hardships, two pretty big breakups in my life, and let me tell you, the first one, I think I completely dealt with it in the wrong way, man. I mean, uh,
That was me too.
yeah, I completely dealt with it in the
Without a
wrong
doubt.
way in terms of like, instead of taking, and you got to respect everybody's way of moving on, because sometimes it's so hard on them that if that helps you, then you can go ahead and do that. But like for instance, my first breakup, instantly I started replacing like that alone time with other people,
Right.
multiple other people, which is just, I mean, it ends up, I think breakups really happen because you're not in love with yourself, and because, for instance, this last breakup I'm going through, instead of going out there and replacing it, I'm taking a different approach where I'm just trying to find love with myself. So when it actually comes a relationship, you could pick and choose what's right for you, because then you have that power of knowing, yo, if this isn't it, I can just walk away because I'll
Right.
be good on my own and I'll be happy on my own. Uh, and then when you're actually happy with yourself and you understand that somebody can benefit your life in a certain way, then you can pick them, and it's a lot less likely that that relationship's gonna come to an end. So
Right.
I think the best way to move on is just to put your head down, stop focusing on what they're doing, and just lock in on your life. And then you can start end up going on dates, but then you're okay with meeting this girl that's super chill, but then she thinks like this, and I think like this, and you can just walk away because it's although it feels nice to have another person there, it's still going to be nice without them there. You get what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely, dude. I think everyone nowadays is they're searching for codependency, or they're searching for a companion for the wrong reason,
Oh, of course.
and like I've had relationships where it's like right when I jump, or right when I like commit, they're like telling me they need me, or telling me like I need you, and I've never said that to a woman, just because I've always said, look, I don't need you, I'm good on my own, but I want you, and that should mean more than needing you,
Oh, of
because
course.
like I want this,
Of
and
course.
that's been
Dude, you told me,
the
didn't you tell me that you went like a year celibate, bro?
yes, dude, yes,
How was
yeah,
that?
it was the most enlightening year of my life, I would say. So for context, it kind of like right when I broke up with my girlfriend, my ex girlfriend, or right when we split, um, it was really tough. I'm not gonna lie to you, dude. And I agree with you. My first breakup I had, I handled completely wrong. I went from basically a year long relationship with my first ex, and then when we broke up, I jumped straight into this year and a half long relationship, and it was like literally like 2 weeks in between,
Yeah.
and and I didn't process the first one, and in the second one, when we split up, I was like, okay, I have to do things a little different, and naturally, like I was looking to fill that void, but I didn't know I was trying to,
Oh, of
like
course.
I don't know, like I just felt like this sense of loneliness that
Dude,
would like
it's
loom
weird.
throughout my day.
It's weird.
And I lived with a girl for like 8 months, and we would sleep together like every day, like, and I would wake up next to her every day,
Hmm.
and and obviously throughout the day, like it was me and her family basically, and it was just this. I went from living alone to that, and then all of a sudden when we split, I was back in Tempe, alone, completely alone. Just
Oh, of course.
and I remember, dude, I would wake up in the mornings and have a full night rest, and it would feel like I didn't sleep at all, and
Yeah.
my eyes were all baggy. I don't know, dude. It was just so weird. And like when I was with my friends, it felt like I was happy, but it was like
Oh, that's how it
one
is.
of my
Yeah.
yeah, dude, one of my buddies, he told me, he's like, dude, when I look at you in your eyes, I feel like there's nothing on the other side. Like there, you don't have your soul right now. It's something, and that's what it was. I think, like genuinely. And I would go to church. I would, do all my work, and I would just feel empty. Like I'd pick up the phone. Everything was getting done, and I was running, I was lifting, but I was empty, dude. And I can't even explain what I was doing and like how I got through it at the end. But when I got there, I just felt, and I think I got there pretty recently, like
Okay.
weirdly, probably like 3.5, 4 months ago. So like that's super recent, to where I finally was like, okay, like if something came into my life right now, I could manage it. But
Yeah.
before that, no way, dude.
That's how
Like I would have
that's how
been
it is.
too
And
numb.
I'd say like there's still times where I slip up. I'm thinking, okay, dude, I'm trying to get this situationship. What am I doing? And then I catch myself. I'm like, all right, let's stop. Let's stop. Uh,
Right.
but I'd say like right now for these past couple weeks or past like 2 weeks, I've kind of just ended up taking that route where I'm like, okay, dude, you know what? What am I doing?
Right.
What am I doing?
Right, dude. And dude, you're dead on. Like I'm telling you, your mindset is perfect. Like I did this alone, but I didn't have like the self-reflection of I have to do this to find myself. I was alone because I was like, this is just the next step, you know. But the fact that you have the self-reflection of like, this is what I have to do, because when I jump into something, you know, I have the power, and the power, like having that power of your own decisions and, you know, the things that come into your life are, it's so important, dude. It's so important. You know, and I was telling you this earlier, but my buddy Cody, he was like, just because something in your life comes in and it isn't bad doesn't mean it's good. And I think when you have that power in your hands, like when you can like see that and you can understand like what you're looking for and the good that you want surrounding you,
Oh yeah.
you know, you can pull the trigger on certain things and be like, I don't want that. Nope, nope, nope. You know, and you gain a sense of identity in
Yeah,
that
no, of
process as
course.
well.
Of course, of course. What are your thoughts on fear of missing out? Because
Like,
that's a big one. That's a big one whenever you're on your grind
yeah.
and you just feel
So
like everybody's having fun.
yeah, I think for me, dude, it's always been, you know, the last 2 years, I will say I've had the greatest growth in myself, you know, and if not the 3 years, like basically all my college has been like filled with self growth. But you know, I think FOMO exists. As for why it exists, I don't know. Like we're human, but for me, it's always been like, okay, these people are gonna do this now, but what are we gonna be doing when we're 50?
Okay.
You know, let's see how long the game goes. Let's see how long they can maintain that level of going out every night. And you know, it's just I shifted my long term or my view to kind of a long term end. And I guess what that means for me is just I I would rather have a stable family and be established before I jump into that than be like, you know, going out every night, you know, smoking weed, getting fucked up, and then all of a sudden I have a family thrown onto me and I have none of my shit put together. You know,
Oh yeah, of course.
I would much rather like be somewhat established now and ready, you know, and I'm just kind of in the camp of options, you know. And Donald Trump, he talks about this in one of his books, controversial name nowadays, but I think there's a lot of value that that guy brings and a lot of wisdom that he's, you know, kind of given the public. But in his book, The Art of the Deal, he talks about options. He's like, I never want to close a door that I think I'm gonna want to open, right?
Okay.
Options. It's key, right? So if you were out every night, you know, getting fucked up, I feel like you lose way more than you would if you know, pursue
Yeah,
that path.
I see.
You know, so I don't know, dude, and it's never
There's
like
got to be a
fully interested
balance.
me.
Let me tell you this crazy story that makes me think of it, and I still think that balance also is there, and you should have some nights where you're gonna go and have fun with people. Cause bro, there's a super sad story about this kid that I went to school with, and it's crazy because I started talking to him right after my first ex when we broke up, and it happened because I I went into the sauna. We were in the sauna, right? And I have my headphones in. I'm locked in. You know, I'm heartbroken, and I just see him looking at me in the corner of my eyes. So I just take out my headphones and like, "What's up, bro?" And dude, the kid, the things that that kid was saying to me, and he had all these all these dreams, and super nice kid. His name is Raul. And every time I was at the gym, like he pretty much knew everybody at the gym. He'd walk up, talk to people, you know. Everybody knew who he was also. Uh, Super sad story. He ends up, his parents end up giving him his dream bike. And that, I don't know if it was the day after or that same week, he dies on that bike.
Holy shit!
And that's what's
Holy
crazy
shit!
about it, bro, is I think your life could just shift like crazy in
Right?
situations like that where it's just you gotta keep people close and still make time for people
Oh,
in your
absolutely,
life.
absolutely. And I think that time can just be spent doing different things with them. You know,
Oh yeah,
like
oh yeah, of
because
course.
like going out every night, you know, and maybe I should answer your question better. FOMO for what? what am I missing out on?
You're
Like
right.
if when my homies go on a hike without me, dude, I kind of feel like shit. Like it's happened twice, and I won't let it happen again because those are the moments, those are the memories that I really value.
Yeah.
And I think you're dead on though. You need to make time for them. And eh, dude, I've been saying this for a while, but it's like I'll treat my phone like it doesn't matter. My mom calls, I answer. My work calls, I answer. Doesn't matter who hits this phone, dude. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna answer, and you have to do it. It's so draining. You might not want to fucking pick up the phone. You might want to let it ring. You might want to go take a nap, dude. But you have to like treat even your personal life kind of like a job now. Like it sucks, but I do believe in that. Like that's a shitty way to word it, but um I do believe that there's a level of presence that you have to provide. There's a level of service that you have to
I
provide.
like I watched this sales training video that talks about that specifically, and he talks about how you can ruin your life and your family and also your sales career if you're not where your feet are. Like if your mind is somewhere else than where you're
Right.
really at. Like if you're at work, you're at work. If you're with your family, you're with your family. If you're with your friends, you're with your friends. Um, just being where your feet are at all times. And
Right.
I feel like, and dude, it took a lot of loss, like in terms of relationship loss and like things in my life where I feel like people were placed in my life to prepare me for the real thing. Because I'd say like the hardest thing about breakups is just looking back and thinking about, okay, what did I do?
Right.
And you can, like I said, you can either cover that up with other people, or you can just spend that time to really understand, okay, why did it end, and how can I fix it?
Right. And exactly. How can you fix it is a good outlook. And you do need that self-reflection. I think I was always, for instance, like when I had my first breakup, everyone always told me, they're like, take it slow. And I was like, I'm not like you guys. Like I can move on quick, like trust. And that's what I would tell people, dude. And I was delusional. I thought that my like threshold for emotional pain was higher than others. And
It's not, bro.
dude, it's
It,
all like I still have feelings, and that's okay. And I
yeah,
used to like I don't know where I got like the I got it in my head that like emotional toughness, it's just a necessity. You have to be kind of emotionless to like make it in life, and
mm,
that is opposite from the truth. And even if it was true, I would not want to cross paths with success, fame, fortune, whatever, and have that mentality of
oh
like
yeah,
being emotionless, dude. Like it's not cool. Like
oh,
I
of
think
course, of course.
having emotion is way more me, way more authentic, way more genuine, and admirable in a way, you know, especially if you can convey it.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, no, that, and I'd say that's also one thing that I learned is also I realized, dude, I'm not shit. I'm not shit. Like if I go through a breakup, I'm gonna feel it like really bad.
Yeah, yeah, dude. And it's a tough thing to like admit. Like it really is, dude. Like again, dude. I had like that whole year where over a year, really. Um, where I literally, dude, like I felt so drained, so lost. Like I can't even
Oh
explain it.
yeah,
Like I looked at photos of myself after the breakup, and I was like, I have no idea what time frame this is, what month, wait, even what
mm,
year, dude. Like it just felt so like I was just going through the motions, dude. And I always told myself, I was like, it would never happen like that. It would never happen. I'm different. Like I can manage, dude. No, not
it's
at all, dude. I'm
it's
not shit.
very
And you said it perfect. I'm not shit.
yeah. At the end of the day, we're still young. That's the craziest part about it is we feel emotions extremely hard when we're young.
True. I'm sure at any age too. It's just
Yeah,
like it.
yeah,
I don't think it. You learn how to manage it better.
yeah. You're right. That's what it is. You just
You learn how to direct it into different places, and the things that are important. You understand how to ask yourself those tough questions, or ask yourself what you did wrong. And this might be personal, you don't have to answer, but like, what did you do wrong? Like, what do you feel you did wrong?
Dang, bro, that's pretty deep.
You don't have to answer, bro. Don't feel pressured at all. Just so you know.
I'd say, um, knowing, for instance, bro, I knew early that, okay, in both of my relationships, I messed up in two different ways in both my relationships, but I'd say definitely one of them was not being where my feet are. Not like when I'm with somebody, not giving them all my effort and all my attention.
Right.
But also, I'd say not getting out of it earlier because I was scared of what they would do if we broke up.
Mm,
That's one. That's one. But
right.
I'd say also just getting into relationships, knowing that I wasn't ready. That's one.
Right. Yeah, I relate to that one entirely, dude. Entirely.
Of course. Yeah, no, there's a dude, there's a ton of things. I don't want to go too into it, but
Yeah, no, that's
yeah,
that's
there's a ton of things. I mean, bro, breakups happen because at the end of the day, two people just met. Both of them can make mistakes or not mistakes, but just different people. But yeah, no, I'd say it's definitely harder if you take that relationship and you just put all the blame on yourself.
right.
Getting over it,
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. It's not that's not an easy road, like at all. Like, and it's one you should definitely not take. There should, at the end of the day, there's no blame. There's no
Of course.
blame at all. There's no shame either. It's just, this happened. This is how we're gonna get better. Period.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how you have to look at it. I do think you have a good head on your shoulders in that regard. And you said make sure you're where your feet are. And I think you opened up. I'll open up too. In my past relationship, I was very, like, I'm busy, dude. Like, I'm very busy. Like, I travel all the time. I'm like always getting emails. I'm always building designs or decks for the team. Do this podcast now. I did, and there's always been something in school, of course, like full time, 18 credits, and it's been like that, like for the last three years, really. And I will say, in my last relationship, I was so spread thin, and I wasn't with someone who could understand I was busier than them.
Okay.
I was, and I wasn't, where my feet were at all.
Oh,
like when I was with her, I was getting a work call and I would pick up anytime. And I would just tell her, I was like, this is my job. Like, and maybe I was too available. I was too available. We spent every moment together, basically. So it was like, there was no boundary, like, I'm not going to not answer because I spent so much time with you. And like that, if I were to go back and do a new relationship differently, it would be, make sure you set those boundaries early and don't make yourself too available, because then you guys fall into like this, you're here,
of course,
you give me no time, but it's like, I give you time. You just, different ways, and communicate that. And I was shitty at communicating, dude.
That was gonna be one that I was gonna say. I feel like communication is huge, bro, because I was the type that would push somebody away instead of communicating how I felt.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, just
definitely.
Okay, I'm gonna break up. Like, I mean, this isn't working out. But like, not really just sitting down and actually trying to explain it. That's one thing I definitely have to work on. So when the right one actually comes, I'm ready for that.
Right. Yeah, I never communicated like what I was looking for, and towards the end of the relationship is when I really started to do that. And I think that's when things got bad, because then, she was like, you were just wanting me to change. And I told her, I was like, no, like, this is what I kind of need right now,
Mm-hmm.
And it was all that, and 100% on me, you know, like I just didn't communicate what I was looking for. But to be fair, I'm also so young. It's like, what the fuck am I looking for? What do I need? You know?
Yeah.
So, and there wasn't much understanding of life is dynamic. It's not static. I'm not going to just work a normal, like, Joe job where I clock in, work at a grocery clerk, whatever, as a grocery clerk, and just fucking scan items all day, bag items. That's not for me. Like I need something stimulating, something challenge, like really challenging, and that's what I've been doing. So it's definitely been difficult. It's been tough on me, and I wasn't with someone who either didn't understand the dynamics or I didn't communicate the dynamics. And
That's how it is,
you know,
man.
maybe a little bit of both, but we're human. We move on, and I know that I have to set that precedent.
That's right.
But one thing I've realized is people are generally optimistic. Like I've told women like what I've needed, and they've all been like, like I could do that, like I can be there, and I'm like, no, like it's not easy. I'm not asking for it to be easy
Oh, of course.
either, you know.
I think it's very important to have an optimistic partner.
Right.
Just in life,
I
dude.
agree.
Just in life.
I agree,
Be
dude,
optimistic.
because it happens all the time, dude. Like you just fall into like a little rut of pessimism or whatever, and it's just like, dude, it's not good. Like I'm very optimistic. I think things generally work out too, but
Yeah.
man, when I have that one looming fear of like this is not gonna work, like I don't know, I kind of fall into a rut
Oh,
a
of
little.
course.
You're
Yeah, no.
totally right.
No, no. No. What do you think about let me think.
You dude, you're asking me all the questions, dude. I really appreciate that,
All
dude.
right,
This is
wait, what
new.
do you have written down? What do you have written down? Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Yeah, dude. So, I wanted to ask you about the gym because, dude, when I fucking met, or when you and me were like growing up together, really, dude, you were just a scrawny kid, bro. And when you were in high school, you were a scrawny kid, like nothing changed. And then I saw you most recently, and I was like, holy shit, you were huge. Like,
Yeah.
you look good, bro. You're jacked.
Bro.
What changed, dude? Like, what happened? Like, how was the bulking process? Did you have to
Yeah.
go on like eat
I,
hella or?
oh yeah, no. I mean, I ate hella, and dude, I would say that before you really say you're depressed or you have depression, to at least be physically fit. Like,
Dude, I agree.
because like for instance, I went through a breakup. Bang. I was sad. Okay, I realized I had to change something about my situation. First thing you could do, there's three things in life you can control. That's your mind, your soul, and your body. You got to have the body at least taken care of. That's
Right.
one thing that you have to do. And I would say that the gym helped me a lot, and it took a lot of eating. I ate a lot. I lifted every day, um, but it definitely clears your mind. I mean, you definitely need motivation to get started, and then from there it starts taking discipline to stay in it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying there?
Yeah. Dude, I love what you said about the mind, body, and soul. It's just, I, man, it is such a underrated way of like compartmentalizing your life.
Oh,
Um, my dad growing up, he wore this chain. It said, I am three. I am three. And I loved it. Like he lost the pennant and I wanted it so bad. So I'm going to get like one made for me.
okay.
But I think there's a lot of beauty in it to where it's like, obviously mind, body, and soul.
Yeah,
You are three. You are those three, essentially, right?
that's
But the key behind, the way my dad looked at it, it was like God. It was family, God, me. I am third. You know,
oh,
so like I am three. Kind of it embodies both of those, like the mind, body, and soul. You are those three,
that's right.
and you are third in that sense as well. But yeah, I think it's beautiful, dude. You're dead on. before you say you're depressed, before you say there's, no hope, like make sure you're taken care of,
Yeah, no, of
like
course.
before you try to add like anything on your plate, like make sure you are taken care of.
Yeah, no, that's a controversial thing to talk about. Like when you talk about depression um, and like depression meds, and because I met a lot of people in my life that are on those meds without really trying a different route first. Uh, because dude, I mean, I watched Joe Rogan podcast. I saw this therapist talking about, hey, I mean, we're diagnosing people with these pills, and depression is like the evolutionary way of telling yourself that you need to change something about your life. And when you're on these pills and you start convincing yourself that okay, where you're at in life is okay, then as soon as you're off of them, you're going to be still in the same spot. So that's why I believe like just taking a different approach first, and then I don't know. I don't know because I've never truly diagnosed myself like just being completely. I've been sad, right? But that just tells you to change something, you know. I mean, what got you into the gym?
For me, dude, I was at 260 pounds, 5'8". I was 5'8", 260 pounds in my junior year of high school.
Okay.
And I, dude, that's huge. I was massive. And none of it was muscle. None of it was muscle.
No.
I could barely fucking bench the bar in a 10.
Yeah.
I could barely do that for reps. And it upset me. And I never confronted it. I never thought it was like a big deal in my life. I still played baseball. I still, went for a jog every now and then or walked or something like that. And I remember it was in my, yeah, pardon me, I was 265/8 sophomore year of high school. And my dad had moved to New York and he just got up and left. And we kept a good relationship, but it was tough on the family. My mom and him divorced, and it was a tough situation. So it was just me and my mom, and um, I love my mom to death, and
Yeah.
you know Dawn, and
Oh, I love
she's incredible. But I remember in that whole situation, like I was such a dick. Like I was such a dick. I really was, and it took some very strong advice from my uncle. He kind of spelled it out for me. We were in the car headed to the airport. My mom was driving, and she said something. She goes, "Oh, that's on Broadway and Sarnoff." And I knew that she got the streets wrong, so I corrected her. I was like, "No, that's Broadway and Harrison, whatever." And I was like such a dick, and I laughed. I laughed. I was like, yeah, I was a smartass. And my uncle's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" Like turns back. He's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" And my uncle's 6'4". He's like 220, 230 maybe, like just jacked, like
uh,
scary guy, Mexican, and he's awesome. And he pulled me outside of the car like after we parked at the airport, and he's like, "Dude," he's like, "You don't even understand what your mom's going through." He's like, "You don't even understand." He's like, "You don't get it. You're not old enough to understand, and I hope you never will." He's like, "She's going through it, and the key is right now you just have to be a good roommate." He's like, "If you can't be a good son, which you're not, you have to be a good roommate. So if you guys are ever fighting, you guys ever doing anything, you go clean the bathroom, you pick up the dog shit,
yeah.
you be a good roommate. And then once you're a good roommate, you're a good friend. And then once you're a good friend, you can be a good son." He's like, "But if this isn't working, if you being a good son is not working, you strip it back. Are you a good friend?" "No, I'm not a good friend." "Okay. Are you a good roommate?" And the answer to the last question should always be yes.
Mm-hmm.
Just it's the basic pillar. So that's how I started looking at life. And to answer your question, I sorry, I promise this connects, but
Yeah.
I was 260. I was 5'8". He gives me that advice, and I was like, I just started being a good roommate, and I did that to my best ability. I was just a good roommate. That's how I woke up, and I cleaned. I took out the dog shit, fucking, took the trash up the street, brought it in, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's all small stuff. all small things, like things that should just get done in general as a kid. But I just made sure to do it to my best ability every day. If there's something to do around the house, I would do it. And I literally, like, when I started doing that, I like fell into this habit of just like actually following through with things. I had always wanted to skateboard, and I stole my mom's credit card, dude. I bought a skateboard, and then I fucking went home and I told her, like, she found out. She's like, "Did you buy a skateboard?" I was like, "Mom, I'm so sorry, but I had to." Like, I've been wanting to do this forever, and and I was honest with her, and we had a conversation, and everything was good. So I started skating. I was 260 pounds on a skateboard. Just like I would skate, eat shit, just fucking all bruised all the time. I was all sore. I hadn't worked out before, so I was just my body was going through it, you
For
know, and like literally falling, dude. Like at 260 is not fun at all.
mm-hmm.
So I started skating like everywhere. Like I would go to a park and just skate for hours, and like I knew no tricks at the time. Now I'm like almost landing my kick flips and everything's fun. But, skateboarding kind of led me to the gym in the sense that I was getting cardio in, but I hit a point to where I lost like 40 pounds. So I weighed like 220, and I was like, okay, now I want to go to the gym. I was like confident enough in me to where I was like, I have to go to the gym now. So I started going with my brother and Phil, and two very, very important people in my life. And dude, they really pushed me like crazy. Like,
Yeah, that's crazy because I feel like once somebody gets that motivation to end up going to the gym and they do it for long enough, then it feels weird not to go to the gym or work out.
yeah, dude, if I miss 2 days, like I feel like shit. The
Yeah,
same with running.
it
It's
feels
like,
weird, but some people need that event in their life
yeah,
because if you're really living life on easy mode, or you really living life with like no like genuine trauma to build off of,
yeah,
I'd find it hard. I'd find it
exactly,
hard.
dude.
So
Exactly. Like waking up sore is fun to me, dude. Like now, and I'm not in crazy shape, but this is the best shape I've ever been in my life.
and
Like
I was gonna
easily.
ask you that. I see you posting all these runs. How
Dude,
do you
it's,
do that? Because you're doing them at crazy times too, aren't you? Like where your schedule is super busy.
yeah. Yeah, it's not the most ideal work to, physical end, whatever, but I make it work, and I was trying to hit 30-mile weeks
Okay.
for ever since January, and I was doing around 30 for the first 6 months of the year, I want to say, or like 5 months of the year. And if I didn't hit it on some weeks, then I didn't really care. Like it wasn't super strict, but that was generally what I was trying to keep at. And as I've gotten busier, it's gotten crazier. So I've gone down to like 15-mile weeks, 20-mile weeks, 25. But as long as my cardio is good, and as long as like when I start running, I feel good and my times are still solid. Like I've gotten 6 miles at 7:45 minute pace,
Okay.
and that felt pretty comfortable.
Yeah. No.
I think that was last week. And so, as long as I'm like staying healthy and still lifting, I think lifting right now is a little bit more of a priority just because I don't want to lose too much muscle, yeah, at this point in my life. But yeah, I have a marathon coming up in January, dude. So it's
Oh, that's
exciting,
what it
man.
is.
Yeah, I'm training for that. So
Jeez.
it,
Okay. Okay.
and I'm hiking the Grand Canyon in October. I have a half marathon in October. And yeah, dude, so a lot of fun stuff. But I think having physical goals is equally as important as having work goals and, like
Yeah.
mental goals, whatever. I genuinely believe having like a physical goal to where, you take it seriously is important.
Oh, of course. Of course. I can't even stress that enough. Dude, it's tough because I have this friend. Like I'm gonna name drop him. Uh, great, 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 great friend. Great, great, great person too. And he's really going through it. And it's like every time we talk about the same thing. Where I'm telling him, yo, I mean, obviously you're feeling this way because of something. I mean, Why don't you try to change this? At least try something. Um, but they're on. They think that the answer is medication, and I don't
That's
know. Yeah, I see. It gets worse. Actually, I've seen, and I've talked to people that have used to be on it, and now they're not, and they talk about how they actually that that it actually made it worse,
right.
and they wish that they like anybody else that they talk to that's on it, they want to recommend them to try a different route.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's hard, man, because it's like I've had relationships like like dating where my partner was on it, and it's like a completely different person. Luckily, they got off it when we were together, and they went cold turkey too, dude, which you're not supposed to do, but they were on it for a long time and then went cold turkey, and
Jeez.
she was fine, like not fine, but like she was stable enough to where she she was like, I can do it. And it was just that having that realization of like, this is not going to be easy.
Oh, of
This
course.
is not going to be easy. And I was like always with her, and I didn't give her like the sappy, like, we're going to get through this. You're going to get through this. I was honest with her. I was like, this is probably going to be the hardest thing. I have no clue what you're going through. And I'm going to try and understand to my best ability, but I have no clue what you're going through.
Mm.
And at any point, like, you might just, you know, you
Yeah.
might feel a certain way, and that's okay. Like, just know, like, you're feeling all these feelings because of this.
Yeah.
And if you can like direct to the source, like maybe that'll help. And she said that helped a lot. So I don't know if that's valuable advice. I think it's valuable in life just in general, but
Oh, of course.
I think
Give me 1 second. I need to grab something real quick.
no, of course, dude.
I need to grab a charger real quick. Hold up.
Yeah, that's tough, dude. That's really hard.
Yeah. Hold up. Yo, you know what's so crazy about this podcast is you think. Hold up. All right, we got my charger. We're good. We're good. I was struggling. Did the camera see me struggling that whole time?
Yeah, dude.
Ah,
This is staying in, just so you know, dude.
oh, jeez. All right. All right, we're good. Okay. All right, so dude, it's kind of crazy doing this podcast because I feel like every time I watch podcasts, it's already people that like made it. You know,
Right.
like this is like you're asking me questions, but I haven't truly made it, or I'm not truly who I want to be yet.
And
But
that's the
it's
dude.
kind
That
of
is
cool because I can
literally
look back on this in the future.
right. That is literally what I want this to be, dude. It's so funny you mentioned that because like I haven't talked about like the personal success end of it. Like I genuinely, dude. Like there's a term, and I posted about it. It's called fruit and fruit. I have a blog
Wow.
about fruit and fruit, right? And it's German for joy of joy. And genuinely, dude, like I have this such an affinity for like the people in my life to where it's just like I want to see them happy and successful. And it's like kind of talking to you about like who you are, what you value. And I think just putting it on a podcast is so it's so sick. Like it's good for
Yeah,
my relationship with you, but it's also just good for you to talk about it and like think. And you know, it's not even about viewership, but if someone did watch it, it's like did they learn something about themselves when they
yeah, that's the
when they
crazy thing
watched it?
about it.
And like
I was
that's all I
thinking,
care about.
I was thinking because I was driving back from Tucson. I'm like, yo, what am I gonna talk about? I mean, usually like on these podcasts, they're talking about my accomplishments, my troubleships, uh, and all that. But like this is like sick. We can look back on times like this where it's just, and I actually encourage the audience too to do do like a 2 hour podcast where
Yeah,
they sit there and they talk about where they're at in life, and you can eventually look back on it.
right, dude. That's exactly what I want this to be. So I'm glad you said that. But and you're so funny, dude, because you asked me a bunch of fucking great questions. I fucking kept talking, so I'm sorry, but
No,
you asked a
no.
really good question, like how I got into the gym, and the gym has been such a important piece in my life recently, like in the last four
Okay.
years.
Oh, of
So I
course.
didn't have a light answer, but I appreciate you for being so like cognizant, I guess,
Yeah, no,
or
no,
receptive.
no, of course. Let, it's crazy because, dude, I met some of the best people I've ever met in the car sales industry. There's this kid named Josh Kaufman who he knew I was going through it, and like the type of advice that he would give me was just actually he was actually the one that ended up telling me, "Yo, you just gotta be alone. Like
Right,
there's a certain way to do it, and if you want to learn from this and look back on it in life and actually talk about it, just be alone."
right,
And that dude, I wish you could talk to him because he needs to make a podcast because that dude has a deep soul. Like he like looks into history and everything. He tells me all this history
right,
stuff. He talks to me
dude.
about
We gotta get
Socrates.
this guy on
Yeah,
here,
dude,
bro. Like,
Socrates, Plato, uh, all this history, and just great guy.
good,
And
dude.
then
So with
also me leaving the car because I would say at my job I also had this role where I was trying to motivate people. Like I would tell them like, "Yo, if you're not giving your 100 in a sales job, then why are you here? Why aren't you going to a job like a sales job where you can give it 100?" And
right,
and they would agree, and they'd end up like starting to try a little bit more, and then they'd lose it right away. That's what ended up happening with me. I ended up feeling like, okay, dude, I'm not feeling this anymore. I was making good money, but and even my dad said he's surprised I stepped away from the job making the money I was making at 19. Uh, but I told him it's because it got to the point where I didn't see myself ever giving 100% again.
right.
And and as soon as I put in my 2 weeks, all of the people that like I would try to motivate, they're like, dude, you just inspired me, bro. Like you really meant it when you said you didn't feel it. You just believe. So
Right. Dude, it's about having the power, dude. Like you have the power. And we talked about it earlier. It's like, it's same from relationships to this. Like at the end of the day, you choose to come in to your work every day, and you can
that's right.
choose to leave.
That's
You can
right.
choose to leave. There's nothing holding you down.
And it's crazy because I had
And
my friend Jonathan, also an awesome guy, but he ended up leaving the job without having another job lined up. And he
right,
says he's so happy he did that because he was staying at that job knowing he didn't want to be there for 4 years. And he always had those thoughts. He just wished he just jumped the gun and just did it.
yeah, that's crazy.
Because he just feels like he ended up wasting a lot of time there. Uh, and I feel like that's sometimes people need to like. There's a difference between okay, it's getting sucky and just leaving versus
Right,
just because at the end of the day, even when some stuff sucks, you got to go through it.
right. Dude, I have a question for you. Okay, this is about car sales.
Yeah,
With with likes of like Andy Elliott, you know who Andy Elliott is?
dude, I use this training.
Right. Did you wait, really?
Yes, I
Damn, dude.
I use his core. Even though he has a pretty sketchy past, dog. Oh, he's the one that also said, "Be where your feet are."
Really? Okay, nice. Okay, I may have seen that clip,
Dude,
but
I gotta send you that
he's
video. That sales training video was probably the best sales training video I've ever watched.
right. Be where your feet are. Dude, I love that quote.
Yeah, no, that one was awesome. All right, what about okay, let me tell you another thing.
Yeah, hit
Andy
me.
Elliott. I was watching a podcast, Andy Elliott getting interviewed by Bradley Martin,
Yeah,
and he talks about the car sales industry. And he talks about how he was making 2 million a year. He ended up
crazy.
moving up to GM. And he still felt he felt the issues at home.
Right,
And he realized that car sales isn't it. He said that he had the golden handcuff theory. That's where I get a lot of my quotes from Andy Elliott too.
right.
He talks about the golden handcuffs, just being trapped in there because he was making money. And that's why I think that life isn't just about money. It really isn't.
dude.
It's very important in terms of like controlling your time, but when you're in a job that you're making so much money in it, but you just feel like you're the only way to make that much money is by completely destroying every aspect of your life, why be there?
Exactly, exactly, dude. It's dead on. I couldn't agree more, dude. It's not about the money. It's not all about the money. You know,
It's not.
it's
All right,
not.
what were you about to say about Andy Elliott though? Because I'm
Yeah,
actually interested.
yeah. No, I was gonna ask you. I was like, so he gets a lot of negative stigma
He does.
around his like aggressive sales training. I've realized that this generation is kind of like just soft,
Yeah.
like the genuinely like really soft. Like I don't know, because for me the the type of training that I would be looking for, like in tech sales, I think the training I got was very passive, and I think it should have been way more aggressive. Like if I were to run the program, I think it would be
Oh,
like
that's what
like
that's
you're gonna pitch in front of me. You're gonna fucking like take calls in front of me every day for the next 2 weeks or whatever, and we're just gonna critique and just go through it together. And we're gonna learn more about each other and more about like I'm gonna learn from you and you're gonna learn from me type thing,
oh,
you
of
know?
course.
Whereas I feel like my sales training was just they ran me through sales, they ran me through the tech, and then it was just get him on the phone. Get him
That
on the phone. He's a
you know,
natural. Get him on the phone. And I'm not a natural at all. Like
oh,
I
of course, and that's what so like he does have a different way of training, but you also have to look at his old stuff because his new stuff is it's kind of getting at like crazy where he's like, "Yo, take your shirt off right now."
right, right. He's
but
like, get that off,
yeah,
dude.
no, like his old stuff, he's dropping gems. He talks about like how you got to build value like the second you meet him, and how like the first
Right,
30 seconds is super important. But he also talks about even when you're the best salesman, you got to keep on learning. Like you got to okay, what how did I word this wrong, or
right,
what could I have said a little better? And he also talks about reading the customer because some people do need some pressure to be able to pull the trigger on something. But then there's just different types of customers. There's people that are very analytic. Okay, you can't be that pushy with them, and your goal is to figure out who the person is from the moment you meet them.
right. So interesting, dude. I love sales for that reason. It is the business of providing value.
Yeah.
And we talked about that before this call, but it was like I think that outlook really shifted how I go about sales.
Oh, of course.
I'm not here to sell, I'm here to provide value, really.
Yeah, and that
And
that's
it's
that was also what I was saying. I also do think that the sales industry is changing, though. I do feel like it's more of you to be less pushy now.
right.
To the soft, I think the soft close is a lot more important now than the hard close.
Right. Well, let me ask you something, dude. I have this written down, but when was the last time you were sold on something? When was the last time someone's, sold to you?
Dang.
See, this is the bet, dude. When someone asked my fucking mentor, his name's Casey,
Uh-huh.
his he asked me this. He's like key to sales, man. He's like, let me ask you something. He's like, when was the last time you were sold? And I had no answer. I was like, I have no clue. But he's like, and how many things have you bought since you came here? I was like, probably a ridiculous amount of things, big purchases too. And he's like, Brett, the best salesman, you don't even know they're selling. You can't even remember them selling to you.
Dang.
And he was like, and I was just like, damn, fucking,
And there's been
that was
there's been
good.
times in my life actually like where it's just like okay, I appreciate it. Like it's like after I know, yo, this person's really good at what they do. Like I just
Right,
feel comfortable.
right,
Yep, yep.
dude.
And
But
that's
like, I couldn't tell you the last time I was sold. I really couldn't.
jeez.
Like I know good salesmen, I know good experiences I've had, but I could not tell you the last time I was like genuinely sold
Yep.
on something. Like they've done a good job.
Yeah, that's awesome. Casey's awesome for saying that. It's just
I know, dude. Casey's a beast, bro. So, he
that's
used to be. I used to work with him. He used to be a coworker, and then we no longer work together. We haven't worked together for a while, but I still keep in touch with him.
Okay.
He's a good guy, but just an old salesman, just a
Oh
little
yeah.
fucking. He's awesome, dude. But
Yeah.
yeah, dude. I don't know. I thought that was like the most insightful sales
Of course.
advice I was
Look,
given. I
everybody,
really
not
love
everybody like is meant for sales, but I would say sales could be one of the most fulfilling jobs because you could always look for something to be better in. And there's probably that in every job. And I think that's one of the biggest mistakes people make is they end up finding a job and then just kind of going through the waves instead of just taking time, because it's not just like focusing on the job itself, but it's also just like learning stuff about life
that. Right.
and improving other aspects of your life, and then eventually that's gonna help you out also at your job.
Definitely. Definitely. It's just I don't know. It's so solid. You talked about um like you're still introverted and but you're in sales. Like
Yeah.
touch on that, dude.
It's funny because even Andy Elliott, he said it too. He's like, dude, I'm introverted.
Right.
So I'm not sure if you know this, Brett, but when I was like early elementary, I don't even know if I knew you at the time. It was like my kindergarten, my first grade, second grade, and then maybe third grade.
Yeah.
I was diagnosed with selective mutism.
Really?
Meaning there's only a couple people that I talked to. Like I
Oh
would pick
wow.
and choose who to talk to, but whenever like I was in a big social group, I would just completely go silent. Like I wouldn't talk at all. And I still feel that way where it's just like I still feel introverted. Like there's times where I just don't want to go into like big parties or big groups and socialize that much. But I feel like just because I'm introverted, I also have like this drive that can only be fulfilled by sales. So it's important to fake it also.
Right.
Just like I was saying, fake it till you make it. Um, but it might even be fake it till you become it at this point, because like I feel like I am getting more talkative outside in public.
Right.
Um, but I think anybody can make it in sales if they really just try. I,
No,
I, I heard this
absolutely.
quote. I heard this quote. I forgot by who, but they said they always say that if you lose, it's okay because you tried your best. But the secret is, if you actually tried, you couldn't lose.
Mm.
You get it?
Yeah.
So
I
I take
like
that
that.
into sales. I'm like, yo, okay, if I'm not performing, was I really trying?
Right.
Was I really out there trying to get better every sale?
No, exactly, dude. Exactly. And you can look at that. I'm a prime example in just my day to day. It's like if I go to bed and it's like it's not easy for me to fall asleep. Like if I still have energy, then I did not exert myself enough, like
Yeah.
mentally or physically throughout the day. Like I had more in the tank. Like there's more I could
Mm.
do,
Of
And
course.
so, dude, that's a really fucking great. That's a great
Isn't
quote.
that
I
a
love
crazy
that.
quote? It's just like
Yeah.
it was stop listening to people saying, "Okay, you tried your best at least," because you really didn't. If you did, you would have won.
Right.
There would have been
I
results.
like that.
Like,
I
bro,
like
this
that a lot.
universe is extremely rewarding. If you really put your time and energy into something in a certain path, I strongly believe that it will happen. It will happen
Definitely.
if
No,
you
I agree,
really
dude.
put your energy there. Like, bro, one of the most inspirational people is Conor McGregor.
Like
You ever heard
weirdly,
him?
yeah, yeah,
When he talks
dude.
about
Like young Conor McGregor, dude. Oh man, so inspired. Old now, yeah,
yeah,
like coked out.
well, he even talks about his old like this new Conor McGregor. I saw this. Like, have you ever seen a clip where he talks about how he was just taking little defeats? Like he was saying he's gonna wake up at this time, he didn't wake up at that time. He said he was gonna train at this time, he didn't train at that time, and it was just little defeats throughout his day that it ended up being the big defeat when he actually ended up fighting. He talks
Wow.
about it. He talks about it now. Like he's saying that he like doesn't like what he became.
Right. Wow.
Uh,
That's very self aware, dude. That's very
yeah,
like I love shit like that. And I think it's so important to put out there. That's why I think I hate to like keep resorting to talking about the podcast, but it's like just a medium to express your
Oh, of
self-awareness, then
course.
like just
Bro,
talk about it, dude. Like
of
that's
course.
so important because like those are the most resonating podcasts with me, or the most resonating content. Like that McGregor thing, it like gives me chills just thinking about just like
Yes,
him.
I'll send you
I
the
don't
video, but it's like an
Send me the
actually
video.
amazing video. Like the way he talks about it, he's like he's sweating, and he's just like he's talking about like his last loss, and he's like, "Yo, I mean, I just don't feel like myself. I'm just taking little defeats, and I know old me wouldn't have done that."
Right.
Like
Damn, dude.
even like for instance, bro, even though Floyd could be like a douche sometimes, Floyd
No,
Mayweather,
I love Floyd, dude.
bro, even
Beast.
though he was a millionaire, he was still grinding.
Yeah, and he is completely sober, like hasn't drank. And like if he ever went to the club, he's drinking water. And then on his way home from the club, he runs.
Yep,
Have you seen the clips of him running
I've
in his
seen that.
jeans, dude?
I've seen that. It's just an
Dude,
absolute inspiration.
yeah, that
Inspiration.
is. I love that. I love that. Yeah. I remember when I first started. Like if I ever went out the next morning, it was like 6 mile run, like
Mm.
guaranteed minimum, just to like hold myself to a standard. Like, okay, if we're gonna reward ourselves, we also have to, reward
I,
ourselves in another way or like
yeah.
punish ourselves, I guess. But for me, it wasn't like it was more so like checks and balances.
Okay.
If you're gonna have fun, you also have to like ground yourself a little.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just the fun's not free.
Of course.
Fun's
Of
not
course.
free.
No, no, that's what I'm. Of course.
But
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's a weird time right now. It's a weird time. I feel like right now it is extremely easy to win in life right now,
it's
just
getting there,
because of
dude.
how distracted everybody is, bro.
Dude, I agree with that. It's weird. Like, so you're still in school, right?
No, I'm not. I
No?
took the opposite route, bro.
Holy
No,
shit. I thought you were enrolled online.
nah, bro. I dropped out. I'm not lying. I made good money. I made good money, bro.
No, no, it's good
Yeah,
for you, dude.
bro. I made good money in sales, and then I was going home, and instead of like studying sales training and studying like how to master the art of mastering a stranger, I was spending it on topics that I wasn't passionate about, bro.
Right.
And,
Dude, that's
and then taking the car sales job also made me realize, bro, that I don't need to go to college to learn.
right.
And
Right. So I agree with that statement. But I would say I'm an advocate for
college,
going to school, but maybe not so much college. I don't know. I think you're doing the right thing, like educating yourself, still making sure you're, up to date on new strategies and what's going on in the world. I think that's valuable. And I think that is arguably like half the battle of college is like making sure you're not, you're utilizing this to actually learn versus
yeah.
just like dicking around on
I
Instagram or whatever.
I I,
And
I believe in college. Don't get me wrong.
yeah,
I believe in and I mainly believe in college because if you don't know what you're doing, the worst thing you can do between like 18 to 25 is not learn anything at all.
right.
Because like college does it does like how do I make I forgot what it's called, but like the connections in your brain,
Yeah.
making it more dense by just learning things. It could be
Yeah.
you don't even need to like it. You could just learn it, but it would make you think on a deeper level. And that's why I still, dude, I'm still an advocate for college. Like,
Right. And
I,
like, I think my point of view is not like you don't need college to be successful. You really don't. But you do need to learn. And I think that's my POV. So I don't know. And the institutions alone are so like corrupt from what I've heard. Like, it's kind of scary, dude. Like, I don't even know what, I don't know. I don't even want to get into it. But, so I don't know if I could advocate for like the ethics or anything, but I don't know. I like college. I think it's important to be around people is what I
it
realized too,
is.
dude. Because I work from home, dude. Like I work remote, but I travel all the time.
But that's what, dude. That's what I'm about to go into, and I'm thinking about just like enrolling in like one or two classes.
Dude,
Uh,
do it. That way you see people, especially your own age, and like you can meet people, meet a
Dude,
woman,
that's what's
you know.
crazy, bro. Because I feel like recently, like being in this car sales job, dude, I'm only around people older than me, and sometimes like I feel like that affects my relationships with like my friends or a
Yeah,
girlfriend,
dude.
and, um, just in general.
Absolutely. Like everyone calls me an old ass man. Like all my homies here, they're like, dude, you act like you're 35. Like you just talk like you're 35 or whatever. And
Yeah, bro.
it's become a joke now, but it's like they genuinely, it's just, I hang around like 6-year-old men every time I travel. And it's just naturally like, I think their dialect is so interesting, interesting. And it
Well,
definitely
dude,
rubs off.
it's different. Human, like interacting with somebody older now, like they also grew up without social media, or I
Right.
don't know. It's kind of tough. It's kind of tough because
They
I,
grew up so different.
yeah, that's the thing. That's what I've realized. I think it is important to be around people your age, though. One hundred
And like
percent.
their parents went to Vietnam, you know,
Yeah,
like that was such a different time. Like we had drafts, we had, you know, it's
yeah, no,
that's crazy, dude. I can't even imagine.
yeah. So I'm thinking about enrolling back because my next job is going to be remote.
Okay,
And
definitely do, dude. I'm not gonna lie, dude. If there's one thing that I can emphasize is do that. You know, just and don't even stress yourself out about it. Like even if you're into interdisciplinary studies, like no major, just taking courses that you find interesting,
yeah,
I think I think that would be good just to like see people. It doesn't even have to be ASU. It could be, you know, just a local community
yeah. That's
college,
what I'm probably
whatever.
doing. I'm probably going to a local community college and do it that way.
Mesa Community College is pretty cool. That place looks awesome. But just being in person with people your age and like
Of
naturally like
course.
women too, like just being able to talk to a person of the opposite sex is it's so
Yeah, that's
I don't know,
important.
it's much needed. It's much needed.
Yeah,
So, you know,
yeah. No,
definitely do that.
I agree, bro. I agree. That's one of the FOMOs that I feel, bro. I'm like, damn, dude, I need to get back in a classroom environment, bro, just to meet people or do group
It's
projects or something.
right, dude. It's fun. It really is. You know, I've gained a lot of friendships, I would say, from just university and
Yeah.
uh you know, and they're the ones that you know are kind of gonna last, but obviously they're still fresh. A lot of my friends, like the main people that I hang out with, I've known my whole life, basically, like you know,
Hmm.
like yourself, and it's like it's always been like that. Like you know, Jacob Hart, you
Dude,
know,
yes.
yeah, right. So, like I've known a lot of like the people in my main circle for a while, but it's nice learning how to like reestablish friendships, you know, and learning how to like build something from the ground up.
Yeah.
So,
No, no, of course, bro.
so I definitely recommend that. But
Yeah, I know
dude, we've been
it's weird
yeah,
because uh
go on, sorry.
no, go ahead, actually.
No, 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 this is you, bro. I have nothing.
Yeah, oh, a lot of guys at my work are trying to hang out, and it's just weird because they're in their 30s, bro. And that's where like some of my introvert like comes in, where like I'm like, okay, you know, maybe I might hang out, maybe I might not. Um, but I definitely do need to build some more connections in my age group for sure.
Right. There's a bunch of conferences and stuff in Phoenix, dude. Like, yeah, I'll
Mhm.
start sending them to you because I end up going to a bunch of those. But if you're in sales, dude, it's like a good fit. Obviously, just networking and doing
Yeah,
conferences and getting leads that way. I don't know if you ever did that for car sales or if that's like a good practice, but conferences B2B or oh, it's butter.
that's where it's at.
That's where it's at. Yeah. At least I think
Yeah,
I've found success with that, but that's tech sales.
yeah, yeah. No, that is B2B, bro. B2B.
It's different, bro. It's fun. But yeah, dude, we can go for an hour and a half, dude. I just want to say, dude, I fucking appreciate you. Like
Dude.
I don't know, a lot of these podcasts have kind of been like me just asking questions and ripping. It was nice to, you know,
Talk back.
join the dude, join the conversation a little and you know, I really appreciate you, dude. I appreciate our friendship and you know, you and your family, just incredible people. So you
Yeah,
know, thank you for jumping on this, dude. And, it's always a pleasure talking to you and hearing your voice, dude.
dude, it's awesome. I appreciate you for inviting me. Seriously, dude, podcast are fire.
I know, dude. You
Dude,
come
it's
back.
fire.
We got to do this again, dude.
Dude,
We
we gotta
will.
do this again. We gotta
We
do this
will.
again. That's
We will.
awesome.
But to the audience, I hope you made it this far. I hope you learned something about yourself along this journey. It's been Matt Fernandez, dude. Thank you.
Yeah, guys. Thank you. Thank you for joining.